Alright, this is going to be a quick Bitcoin update. Just want to go over what has happened since yesterday's video. So one of the scenarios that I talked about was us barely breaking above this high right here, this high that, challenged the value area low last, and basically falling back down below the value area lows soon after, barely closing or SFPing that high. And, that's pretty much what happened. We barely got a close above it on the 4-hour and on the 3-hour. It was a break technically, it is still a higher high, but we didn't stay above the value area low for very long. We fell back down below it. And following that, I did start looking for some short entries. And I did take a few shorts following a retrace to the golden pocket after losing the value area low. And spoiler alert, I ended, both of these trades with basically a break even. This second one got stopped out, literally just barely wicked out there for a 1% loss. And then I locked in 1% on this one. I closed about 1/3 of the trade at about a 3-to-1 and put my stop loss to entry. And I didn't take any more profit on that, unfortunately. I probably should have down here, but, I basically ended at a break even, so at least it's not a loss. And there were lots of different confirmations for this trade. I'll go over all of them. This was like a high Confluence idea, and I made it only gave a 4-to-1. Like, that's pretty good, at least from my entry. But I was kind of thinking it may give more of an extended move, which is why I wanted to leave some of it open. Because again, it was backed by my higher time frame idea of us failing to reclaim the value area low and possibly rejecting from it. We did confirm some of those high time frame divergences on the 2-hour money flow and momentum divs. So yeah, there was potential that led to a very deep move, but it did get stopped out today during the FOMC shenanigans that were going on. So I'll go over this first trade I took. The second one was just kind of piggybacking off the first idea. I just took, a different entry with a different invalidation, and unfortunately I chose the one that was going to get wicked out right before the dump. The first thing I saw was on the 15-minute, we had a nice looking basic strat setup with, price retracing to a key area, the golden pocket, and we saw continued direction with momentum and with money flow. Money flow had been trending down for a while, and this was backed up by some lower time frame divergences. They were not the best because they were only momentum divs, but still momentum divs as we put in that last high on the 5-minute and down. But still, money flow was putting in higher highs. But I did not enter, immediately after seeing the divs. I waited for some further confirmations. Yeah, it was even a slight div on the 1-minute, but money flow was putting in higher highs, so it, was not the greatest confirmation. Following those divergences, we did a few things. Number one, we got this move to the downside and then retraced, and what happened during this retrace was pretty interesting. I go over to Coinalyze, and I look for where we were right here. So this is a high. This was us losing the value area low. This was us retracing to the golden pocket. And my fib settings did not save. That is unfortunate. But following the divergences, which occurred right here from this high to this high, we got that drop, we got a retrace, and we started forming some bearish absorption. So price putting in a lower high with CVD putting in a higher high right here. And it's a little hard to see because following that, we got a whole bunch of shorts opening up, which makes it seem not as significant. But we also saw open interest increasing during this time specifically, so this was longs opening up. So a bit of absorption. I think that was also a retrace into the local golden pocket. Yeah, it was. And then following that, I ended up entering once we lost this low right here. We actually broke market structure right here. This was the last higher low. So that was my entry. It, gave a pretty decent trade. It was a 4-to-1 down to like the actual low, but I ended up taking profits a little higher and then getting stopped out without taking any more profits. So, it's all good. Still a successful trade. There was a chance that this one, really ran. And so, in my mind, it was worth it to have the potential to have a, real runner and just end up getting stopped out at the break even. That's fine with me. And following that, I did take a few losses this morning, which did, put me down overall for this entire week. This was the first trade I took this week, I believe. But I did enter this trade right here, a bit of a risky one. But yeah, during FOMC, we got to move up to SFP this high. So we got, back above the value area low, obviously, and SFP this key high, which is obviously right now a range high. So I took a low risk trade on that. I got a terrible entry. I ended up entering around value area high. I tried to enter somewhere around here, but price dumped so fast that I had to, redo my calculations. And yeah, by the time I entered, did not get a great entry, but I did already take profit on this. I locked in, right now a break even, but if I move my stop loss down, I will be in slight profit, which I'm probably going to do. And we did continue some of the divergences on this high. We still haven't printed a red dot on the 1 hour, but on the 30 minutes, very clear divergence there with money flow as well. But I am also aware that we did not take out this high on Binance. We just barely front ran it. So possibly we end up coming back up to this high to take it out on Binance before maybe rotating all the way to the low of the range, possibly even breaking it bearishly. So I am well aware of that, and that is why I looked to de-risk this trade ASAP. And it's also why I'm still looking for a trade from that high. I think coming back up to SFP this again is one of my next ideas. And also, at this point, I am looking at the range low. So these two positions are really the next trades that I'm interested in personally. And as far as everything else, I mean, we're pretty much in the same boat that we were in last time. We still have divergences on the higher time frames, even though the 4-hour money flow still looks pretty good. As you go down in time frames, it starts to look a lot worse with money flow not only diverging, but now crossing into the red again. And the divergences that exist, at least on Bybit right now, they're not on Binance because we didn't take out the high, but those local divs are another bearish sign in my opinion. So we are certainly struggling to get back above the value area low at this point. And, the only real thing that has changed on the higher time frames is that we've taken out this high, meaning this right now is the higher low. And even though we didn't take it out on Binance, this is still a range, a clear range. And so right now I'm looking at this range to kind of give me a hint as to what happens next. I think if we start breaking this range bullishly, then possibly I'd start looking towards some of the higher resistances, like, the 786. Maybe there's some other resistances above, in between the range high in there, but I think, a main target for me is going to be these highs. And if we start breaking this range to the downside, we could just be trading in a larger range, sure, but that does start to look a bit more bearish considering the divergences and struggling to get above the value area low. So, yeah, I'm looking at this as a decision range. I'd probably be looking at this larger range as a decision range as well. And, considering that, I might as well draw up another idea at this range low, because I think that is a pretty obvious decision. Alright, well, that's it for this one. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, leaving a comment. All that helps to support my channel, and I appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video.